Okay, welcome everybody to the Occupational Therapy panel. My name's Jennifer and I work here in the Future Students team at Southern Cross University. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the lands of the Gumbaynggirr Nation today, and I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. We're here today to share some insights into Southern Cross University. This is a 25-minute panel and there'll be 5 to 10 minutes at the end to answer any questions you may have. Today I'm joined by a fantastic panel. We have lecturer Vicky Tillett, lecturer Lisa Cousins and our current student Mandy Atkinson. Hi everyone. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and what your connection is to Southern Cross University?
Okay, I'll start. My name's Vicky. I've been an occupational therapist for over 30 years now and have worked in a variety of settings, both in Australia and overseas. Majority of my background's been with regards to workplace rehab, which has been when people have been injured at work, getting them back to work effectively and safely. But particularly overseas, I've worked a lot in hospitals and rehab centres. And I've been here at SCU for the past 4 years and was involved in helping getting everything set up here at COF's campus for the start of our OT degree, which started, we've got our first year of graduates coming out this year of Coffs Harbour.
My name's Lisa and I've been an OT for not quite as long as Vicky has, but about over 20 years. I have been here at Southern Cross Uni as a lecturer for the past 3 years. Prior to that, I worked as an occupational therapist in many different settings. I started off in mental health and decided, no, I don't really love that. So I moved into the acute hospital setting. I worked at Coffs Harbour Health Campus for over 15 years. I then moved into some private work and did some NDIS work, particularly working with adults with disability and particularly looking at wheelchair scripting, so doing a lot of the equipment prescription for people with disabilities. I've also worked overseas. I've worked in the States and in the UK. And yeah, I've been here for 3 years, as I said. I think that covers it. That's enough?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
My name is Mandy and I'm a second year Bachelor of Occupational Therapy student here at Coffs Harbour. Here ends my long list of occupational therapy achievements.
Thanks everyone. Lisa, could I start by asking you to explain what kind of work do occupational therapists do? We've all heard the job title, but what does it actually look like in practice?
Yeah, okay. This is a bit of a complex one, I guess. It's something that we spend a bit of time with our first years teaching them what occupational therapy actually is. I guess in a nutshell, we help people be as independent as they want to be. And that is done in a variety of different ways. It's such a wide, very diverse. Thanks, Vicky. It's such a we do this, answer each other's questions. It's such a diverse profession. You can work with children, you can work with adults, you can work with the elderly population. You can work with people with mental health conditions. You can work with people who have had strokes. You can work with people with brain injuries. You can work with refugee populations, different community groups. Our focus is about getting people to be able to participate in their chosen occupations, whatever that may be.
And occupations is not just work.
No, it's not. Occupations, like you think about what you do in your everyday life and they're all your occupations. So we're very client-centred, we're very goal-orientated, so we talk to clients about what their goals are and then we look at what we can do to help them achieve their goals. Does that sound like us?
That's great, thank you. Vicky, to register as an occupational therapist, what is required after graduation?
Yep. So after graduation, you do need to register with AHPRA, which is the regulatory body for health professionals. So once everyone's finished all their final exams, all the results are through, all of our student details get sent off to AHPRA. And as a student, you then register like you do every year after as a health professional. No additional exams, paperwork, courses, things like that. You basically register, you get your approval through AHPRA and you are then a registered occupational therapist. And you will, every year with health professionals, you do need to do continuing education. which just keeps you abreast of all the changes and making sure that your knowledge is current.
That's great. And where do your graduates mostly end up working?
Oh, they work everywhere. A lot of our graduates recently are going into the NDIS field. Also, a lot in the hospital system. It could be private clinics, out in the community setting, out in remote rural health, Royal Flying Doctors, out in the mines.
We've had some graduates, not necessarily new graduates, because they're ones we encourage our new grads to go into positions where they'll get supervision and some mentoring. But we have had SCU alumni who have started their own businesses and are OTs in private practice and are very successful at that too.
That was great. Thank you. And a little bit about the degree. What does it actually involve? Are there different electives that you can take depending on your interests?
Yep. So it's a 4-year degree at Southern Cross, but also all around Australia. And there's OT specific units that you do. So in first year, there's a unit called Introduction to Occupational Therapy, which gives you a bit of an overview. And as you progress throughout the degree, you look at different OT specific subjects, such as might be paediatrics. You might look at some modifications, home and communities. You also do general health subjects, such as your anatomy, your physiology, working as part of a multidisciplinary team. We do have an optional major at SCU, which is an Indigenous health major. So you do have the opportunity to study the Indigenous health major, and particularly if that's a big focus of yours or you're wanting to work in remote rural communities, it's one that we would really recommend.
Great. And once you graduate, can you actually specialise in different areas in occupational therapy? How does that work?
Let me take that one. Look, everyone who finishes Bachelor of Occupational Therapy can go and work in any occupational therapy position, so you don't necessarily need any
Around the
further
world.
qualifications. Around the world, thank you. We are World Federation accredited, I guess, is the word I'm looking
Accredited
for.
with the World
Thank you.
Federation of
Put it that way.
Occupational Therapy.
Yep. So no, you don't need to specialise, but you can go on and specialise in particular areas. I've done some extra training in equipment prescription and particularly wheelchair prescription because that's the thing that I was passionate about. I know OTs who have done extra training in hand therapy because they've been very interested in doing that. So you can go on and do extra things, but you don't have to work as an OT. Yep.
Great, thank you. And finally, Vicky, can I just ask, what do placements look like on the course?
Yep. So in occupational therapy, you have 1,000 hours of placement throughout the 4 years. And we do simulated placements at uni in second year where you get to start to practice all your skills before we let you out in the big wide world with the patients. And in third and fourth year is when your really large external placements are. So in third year, it's an 8-week placement, and fourth year, it's a 10-week placement. So you think 10 weeks, it's almost 3 months of being out there, hands-on clinical placement. And they can be, in theory, anywhere throughout Australia. Most of them are New South Wales and Queensland-based, our placements.
And finally, can I just ask, do you have any advice with students starting out to study occupational therapy? Any tips or anything?
Can I throw in first that it's a fantastic job? I don't think I've said that. I feel like I need to say that. And there's lots of job opportunities for OTs too. I feel like we didn't get that point across either.
And what? In graduation employment rates.
Graduation.
What does that look
Last
like?
year we had 100% of Southern Cross Uni students were employed as OTs within a short time frame of finishing. Yeah. So look, I every few weeks I get a job offer, someone ringing me to say, can you come and work for me, please? Because there is such a need for OTs because we are so varied in what we do. What was your question? Sorry, Jen, about I digress.
Graduate employment rates. That's fine.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, yep.
Yeah,
and then tips. You want
and tips. Yeah.
Maybe Mandy should answer that one because Mandy's a student. Tips.
Yes, that's okay.
Sorry.
I'll go to you, Mandy.
Yeah.
Mandy, what actually made you choose occupational therapy?
So for me, I guess COVID impacted everyone in a particular way. And for me, it made me really kind of step back and evaluate my life and what I wanted to do with it. And I realised after sitting in my spare bedroom working remotely for 18 months, I get really bored really easily. So I wanted a career where I could have that versatility and I could have the opportunity to work across the lifespan and I could help people. But I could also have a job where I could, enjoy the Coffs Harbour lifestyle. And for me, it was the opportunity and, as they've mentioned, like 100% employment rate, like you don't necessarily need to hustle for your clients. You don't need to hustle for work because there is just so much out there and so much more coming. And so for me, it's the perfect blend of being able to help people, being able to actually enjoy the lifestyle and see daylight hours. Before this, I did a law degree and I was like, it wasn't for me. It just wasn't my thing. But for me, occupational therapy is that freedom, I guess, to have my own business. And, if I get bored doing something, I can go into a different area and still work as an OT. Does that sum it up for you?
That's great.
Perfect.
Thank you. And what does your typical week look like?
So for me, like a lot of uni students, I work part-time and I study full-time as well. So I guess my average week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm at work. After work, I might go to the gym. I might go and do some social uni sport. I'll come home, listen to a lecture, maybe do some of my reading. Thursday and Friday are my class day. So I'll be in campus first thing in the morning, going into class and really applying that knowledge. And you're in the health building at the moment, so you'll be able to walk around and see some of the rooms we use. This is one of our tutorial rooms. Upstairs, you'll see the ADL labs, and they are phenomenal. And also one of the newest in Australia too. So yeah, basically come along to that. On my weekends, it's Coffs Harbour. It's a pretty amazing place to live, so I like to get out and enjoy it. But the benefit of that, because we have lectures online and they're pre-recorded, I can take my laptop to the beach. I can hotspot my phone. I can literally sit at the beach and learn. Like, it's a pretty cool way to study.
Can I interrupt too? Just to go back to the tips that you asked me about, and I was digressing to Mandy. Tips. You need, particularly with our movement to our 6x6 with the Southern Cross model next year, you need to be able to motivate, maybe is the word I'm looking for, be able to go along and do the learning in your self-paced way. So yes, we're there to offer support and we'll be there to do the teaching of skills and things, but there is an expectation, I guess, that you are able to do adult learning and go and learns some of the content yourselves in an online environment. Okay.
And I think in the olden days when we were at uni 5 days a week, where it was you'd go to face-to-face lectures, you'd be sitting in a big hall with 200 other students just getting all this information. Whereas the lectures nowadays are online. So you're sitting at home on your laptop watching the lectures. You come to campus for your face-to-face, the hands-on lab work, where we're giving you've learnt and listened and watched, read all about the theoretical side of it. When you come to campus, the labs, it's all that practical, applying it, getting to touch, to feel, to put it all into practice.
That's great, thank you. Mandy, can I go back to you?
Yeah, sure.
Where do you see yourself when you actually graduate?
So I kind of touched on it a bit earlier. My ultimate goal after finishing is to have my own business, my own private practice. I don't know what field I want to specialise in. I don't know entirely what that will look like, but I like the idea of being able to run my own race and be my own boss and, potentially have my own staff. And, with that, there could be the opportunity to travel around a bit. It could be that I do a stint overseas. I think that's the thing with OT is I've got a nice end goal, but you've got so many ways to get there. And, even as Vicky and Lisa have said, their experiences and their careers have just been so diverse. So I guess I'm kind of pretty open to the possibilities, and that's actually really, really exciting.
And finally, going back to tips, what advice would you give to students starting out?
So I guess this doesn't apply to all uni students, but yeah, particularly OT. A, do your prep work so you don't feel completely out of your depth. But B is go to class. Even if your classes aren't compulsory, go to class because you're meeting your classmates, you're getting to put all these skills into practice. You're getting these amazing connections with your lecturers who, as we've mentioned, like literal decades of experience. They can tell you all there is to know about it and more. Yeah, I'm going to talk you guys up. But yeah, go to your classes, get to meet your classmates because, you know, they're going to be your fellow colleagues in the profession. They're going to be the ones that are out there. And look, it's not all sunshine and roses. I think we've all had the occasional day where we're like, oh man, what have I done to myself? Your classmates are there to pick you up and help you through it. And there's going to be a lot of coffee consumed, but when you're consuming coffee with a friend, it's a lot more fun, yeah? But yeah, I guess big tips, get prepared for your classes, go to your classes and make friends.
That's wonderful. I'd just like to say thank you so much to our panellists and sharing your insights into studying at Southern Cross Uni. I'd like to invite the audience now to ask any questions that they may have. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry. I just wanted to ask, how many students you guys take on board for occupational therapy each year?
Okay. How many students do you take on board
Yep.
for occupational therapy?
Across the board, so we've got campuses both at Gold Coast and Coffs Harbour, and it's the exact same degree. So across the board this year for first year, I think there's around 250. Here in Coffs Harbour, it's around 60, around was what we had this year. So probably between 50 and 80 might be a good guesstimate for next year.
But there's no caps on numbers at this stage.
Anybody else? Any questions?
You mentioned ADL labs. What's ADL?
So, ADL labs? Explain a bit
ADL
more.
is an occupational therapy abbreviation, I suppose. Activities, get it out, Lisa. Activities of daily living. So that's basically everything that you do in your daily life. And our ADL lab upstairs is set up so that we can simulate a lot of those activities. And it's set up. I encourage you all to go up and have a look at it because it's a fantastic facility. It's set up with a lot of intervention options that we put into place as OTs. So it's a fantastic facility. I wish I had that when I was out working as an OT, I have to say.
Can I jump in there and just say, so yesterday we were up in the lab there and we had a full simulated house for home and community, which is actually one of Lisa's subjects. And so basically we're in the front of the classroom. We went through the theory. We're like, cool, this is a theory. And then we opened the door and there was this full environment that we got to walk through. So one of us had a walker or a walking frame or a walking stick. The other one was the OT and we got to spot the hazards. So it wasn't a case of, yo, watch this video. It was, oh, there's some shoes on the floor here. Oh, someone's left their medication out. Oh, this door's a bit narrow, you know. So it's really that opportunity to get as close to the real world as you can without actually having the pressure of being out in the real world.
That's great. Does anyone else have any other questions? Yeah.
So at the end of the 4 years, because you've done the 1,000 hours, I've got an animal assisted therapy business, so I'm sort of hoping my son.
No pressure.
No pressure. But so he should be technically able to, register with APRA and then come straight in. You shouldn't have to do anything else.
Yeah, exactly. You once all the paperwork goes through from Southern Cross Uni, you can then register with APRA. I'm pretty sure that most of our students get registered sort of by November, December.
Before the end of the year.
They sort of finish their placement in October and are registered November, December. And yeah, once you pay APRA fees, which is everyone wants fees, then you're registered and you can start working. And then you've just got to make sure that you're keeping up with your CPD, your continuing professional development. We've just looked at that. It's 20. I've just reviewed mine, 20 hours.
Any other questions?
How many hours does it normally like for a class? Like say you come in on Thursday, Friday, how long does that go for?
So the face-to-face labs, each class might be around 3 hours. So, and we usually give you a break during that because it's a pretty long time.
So you'd normally do, if you were doing a full-time load next year, you'd be doing 2 units, and for those 2 units, you'd be expected to come to class for 2 to 3 hours, hopefully 3 hours for the classes per unit. So that's 6 hours for the 2 units. Yep. Plus there's about 20 hours online self-paced content per unit that you would be expected to go to. So I guess that's one of the things with TIPS. I know a lot of our students have previously have come in, they've been working full-time, have had families and have come in thinking I can do a full-time OT degree. and have struggled a bit with it. So I guess it's about your expectations and your ability to not take on too much either. Be realistic with what you can achieve.
And
Yeah.
I think just hours, if you're doing a full-time load, it is, 30 to 40 hours a week of study, which would be all the lectures that you're watching at home, all the reading, all your preparations for your assessments, your study, as well as coming to class.
That's great. So if anyone has, do you have a question there at the back?
If you didn't live here, like we live down in Port Macquarie, and you wanted to do the course full time, could you do that without having to live here? Like, could you do a day trip for your, is it 2 full days of?
And each year it's different with regards to when your days are on campus. But so as of next year, you'll be studying in a 6-week period 2 different units. And for most of those units, you'll only be coming into class once a week. Yep. So
So 6 hours, if you were doing a full-time load, you'd need to be on campus for, at this stage, 6 hours a week.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. And it may well be on one day, but there's a good chance it's probably over 2 days. But you can definitely do it living, outside of Coffs Harbour and travelling in for that.
I've had students who have lived in Port Macquarie and driven up. Yep.
That was answer my question. Thank you.
So can I just ask you to explain the new transition then of the timetabling? You were just saying you were changing the format.
Yes.
Do you want to take it up?
Yeah. So the 6x6, it's the new Southern Cross model. It's a new way of learning. So rather than doing 4 units in a session, it's terms. So it's 6 terms, and in that term you do 2 units. Rather than in a 6-week block, and at the end you have the assessment. So it's just much deeper focused learning, and it means that rather than balancing 4 different conflicting deadlines and priorities, you've just got your 2 units. This is on a full-time, if you're doing full-time. 2 units, focus on those, get those out of the way, have your assessments at the end, and then have a 2-week gap, and then the 6 weeks starts again.
So there's no difference in the length of time or what you study each year. Instead of doing 1 unit over a 12-week period, it's condensed down to 6. So instead of doing 4 over 12, you're doing 2 over 6 plus 2 over 6, which equals 4 over 12.
And the big positive with that is instead of spreading yourself over 4 different units and having to submit 4 different assessments every 3 or 4 weeks, you've only got to focus on 2 units, and you might have to just submit 2 different assessments every 3 weeks or something like that.
And I think it's important to add as well the initial feedback from students is like better satisfaction rate and completion rates, and it's been really positive so far. So that's great. Does anyone have any other questions? This beautiful panel. Oh, hi.
It's not really about the studying part, it's about the actual job. With occupational therapy, is it more like hands-on, or does it kind of depend what area you go into?
It absolutely depends on the area you go into. I did stroke rehab, so that was fairly hands-on, and you were assisting people a lot and doing a lot of therapy. But there's also positions, I guess, like Vicky's worked in work rehab.
Workplace rehab, medico-legal, where you're doing a lot of reports and paperwork writing.
Yeah.
NDIS, you're doing a lot of hands-on, but there's also a lot of reporting that you have to send back. So it will vary depending on the area.
And that's the fantastic thing about the job. If you don't like one part of it, you can go and work in another area.
Thank you so much, guys. That has been really great. You've been a fantastic panel. But these guys are actually going to be hanging around for any further questions. So if you want to ask one-on-one, they'll be in the OT labs upstairs. So you just have to go to the end and go to the stairs, and they'll be there for the OT labs. So thank you so much. And we look forward to welcoming you at Southern Cross.